Shalom. Call hello, Yahweh Bashim Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered among the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners, and to the Akwaf that are listening and learning. To you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago. And the name of this video is called Chris Hedges Sacrifice Zones of America. And this is on the agenda with Steve Paikin. All right. So the show is called The Agenda. And of course, that's not Steve. That's a woman that's sitting in with him interviewing Chris Hedges. And Chris Hedges has a lot of content on the internet about, he's been chronicling, the downfall of America and predicting it, just according to, not biblical prophecy, but just according to the trends and the things that are happening in the world with the economy, and just being a man who's not stupid. He can see the writing on the wall that America could no longer sustain or support itself, and that eventually the whole system is going to come crashing down. So without any further ado, I'm just going to, push play, and through the spirit, I'm going to stop it and bring out some scriptures, because in the first, this is a 25-minute interview, but in the first 7 minutes, he's only watched the first 8 or 9. He says so much that I was I stopped it, and it's I gotta, go in and use this video to edify, because all he's doing is just he's just backing up what we've been saying about America here in Babylon, and that we are indeed in the last days of the last days, and America is pretty much finished, is terminally ill. And the symptoms weren't showing, but now the symptoms are showing. The symptoms are showing. You can see the decay. As the body starts breaking down, America's breaking down. So without any further ado, let's let it play.
And joining us now in studio, Chris Hedges, author with Joe Sacco of Days of Destruction, Days of Revolt. Welcome back to the agenda. Thanks. I have to say, when I first picked up your book, Days of Destruction, Days of Revolt, kind of thought, end of the world movie, Hollywood blockbuster. But when I read it, it is sort of a story about the end of the world as we know it, isn't it?
Yes, and what we're watching is not just the assault against the ecosystem, but the collapse of globalization.
And the collapse of globalization, the collapse of the hegemony and control of the Edomite male. So that Edomite male dominance has come to an end, because what they've shown you is that they are not capable of being the ruling class people. Like he said, ecosystems on their watch during their time of rulership. The oceans, the waters, the riverways, the waterways have been annihilated and destroyed. The land has been polluted. The water is polluted. The air is polluted, and the food is defiled to the point to where the food cannot sustain people. The people are getting sick and dying worldwide. And then the abuse of nature and the abuse of drugs. They're not capable of ruling. And what comes to mind is just is them being profane. So let's go to Hebrews 12. And 16, and it reads, "Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, for who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright." So Esau is profane, which literally which translates to being outside of the temple. He's outside of grace. Hey, he's outside of there's no mercy for him. Matter of fact, I'll just keep reading. Verse 17. "For ye know how afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, and he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. So that's one of the reasons why Esau has been on a rampage. He's that spoiled, rotten kid who's been seeking the approval of his father, but his father has already rejected him. And his blessing was temporary, and look how he squandered it. He ruined the world on his watch. And at the same time, he destroyed and broke the brotherly covenant with his own brother. It's not written for it to happen that way. But it would seem that if you were the brother of the king, if you were the brother of the promised one, you might want to stay brotherly with that brother. That brother may show you brotherly love when he's in rulership and in command. Because how do you think a brother that loves his brother would treat him when the brother is actually, in control? He's going to look out for his brother. But yet Esau rejected and mistreated his brother in the most vilest ways. And now his world is coming to an end, and his future is shackles and chains and recompense, meaning he has to go through double of what he put the Israelites through. Okay?
And both of those two events have profound consequences, which I think are now beginning to ripple across the globe.
You talk about in your book, it's focused on what you call sacrifice zones.
Right.
Tell me what you mean by that.
Well, they are the places where corporations were able to walk in, and we begin with Pine Ridge, South Dakota, and westward expansion and the railroad companies.
So he just went back to the inception of America, which, this is Jeremiah 50:33. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. Their Redeemer is strong. Yahweh of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. And the inhabitants of Babylon are going to be disquieted as they're being exposed. First they have to be made bare, and they're being made bare, and now they're going to be disquieted, man. All right, because they have to pay for what they've done. This also proving that the so-called natives are indeed Israelites. All right, and then for you people who say, oh, well, they got the casinos. No, they don't. He's going to talk about what they have. The people in the casinos are Edomite terrorists, claiming to be claiming to be Native Americans through their mothers, and your heritage is through your father, according to the Bible and according to history. It's always been that way. That was something that they changed, modern day, and that was changed by who? That was something that was done by the seed of Cain. All right, who is Esau, Edom. For those of you in the know with understanding, you know that Cain came back as Esau, and Abel came back as Jacob.
And focus on Pine Ridge, which is one of the poorest pockets of the United States, as are all the pockets we talk about. The average life expectancy in Pine Ridge is 48 for a male. It's the lowest in the Western Hemisphere outside.
So the so-called Native American male has the lowest life expectancy in America. All right. Confrontations with police, drugs and alcoholism, and a lot of suicides among the Gadite tribes. Because why? This was once paradise. They once were warriors, and now the real ones are stuck on reservations that are worse than any project you've ever seen, you ever set foot in, if you've ever been in one.
Haiti at any one time on Pine Ridge, which is of course a reservation for Native Americans. 60% of the population lives without electricity or running water. This is the United States. And these sacrifice zones have just been ripped apart.
So this is their land, and they live without running water and plumbing and indoor plumbing. They real life have an outhouse. They have to leave their shack or their trailer to go out to an outhouse, or just go out into the woods and dig a hole and take a dump. All right? Mind you, this is on their land. So that brings a scripture to mind. Let's go to the book of Micah. This is Micah, the 2nd chapter, starting at verse 2. And it reads, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. They covet fields, and they take them by violence. And houses they take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage." And as you can see, Gad is extremely oppressed here, man. And then they even, if you watch that movie that came out a couple years back, a little longer than that, maybe about 5 years back, the latest edition of The Lone Ranger came out, where Johnny Depp played the Gadite Tonto. And in that movie, they showed you that they found silver on his land as he was a child, and they wanted to know where the silver was, and he showed them. When they realized that it was where his burial grounds and where his people dwelt, they came in and slaughtered his people for the silver, and and then they built the railroads right through there. So this is Esau, is his MO. All right, just like when Alexander of Macedonia took over the Europe from the dark-skinned Etruscans. All right, from the for lack of a better word, black. Because they were dark. They were a so-called black people, as according to today's standard. Not the same as a Negro or African, but yet they were dark-complected people with woolly or curly hair. All right, and those were your original inhabitants of Europe. But now these people live in Europe, these transplants, these people who, these colonizers basically, and now they call themselves European, and they've taught history falsely as if they were always there, that's where they come from. And that's far, far from the truth, because the video behind this is that I'm going to do after this, either later on this evening or early in the morning tomorrow, is going to be on that subject matter.
The consequences to the environment, to families, to communities, all has been prostrated before the demands of the marketplace. And what's happened in places like Pine Ridge and Camden, New Jersey, which per capita is the poorest city in the United States, in the coal fields of southern West Virginia, in the produce fields, where you have undocumented workers whose...
See, we're still talking about the Northern Kingdom here, in Camden, New Jersey, which is, as he said, one of the poorest places in America. All right? They got them. No, let's let them say it.
Work conditions often resemble slavery, quite literally. Is that...
He said that work conditions often or resemble slavery, literally. All right? And who do they get to do that? Probably about 90% Issachar. All right? And so this is Genesis 49 and 14. And it says, Issachar is a strong ass couching down between two burdens. All right? And when you look up Issachar, when you look that word up, what it means is he is hired. And anyone who would say that Mexicans aren't the hardest working people on the face of the planet, then they're just a liar, because they are. You want to sit up and be racist and call them lazy or beaners and all that other mess. For ones that are like that, that's a learned behavior from being here in Babylon, man. Just like they said it about the Negro. The Negro, so-called Negro, built this land that you stole, man. You Edomite stole it from Gad and Issachar, and the so-called Negro, who is Judah for the most part here in America, built it up for free with their blood, their sweat, and their tears, man. All right. Speaking of which, let's read Genesis 49 and 19 about Gad. It says, Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. So, hey, there's a recompense coming to these so-called natives, man, for what you have done to them on seizing their land, and abusing their heritage. All right. and denying them basic rights, because America is crumbling, man.
This exploitation has, which has cannibalized these areas, is now leaching outwards across the country.
So let's talk about Camden,
right.
New Jersey.
Hold on. He said this, right. These circumstances which have cannibalized those areas and those people is leaching out across America, across the country. This is Deuteronomy 30 and 7. 30 and 7. And it reads, and Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecute thee. All right? So, like you said, look at the state of America now, the land of the free. Now you the land of the imprisoned in your home. All right? Also, now you can't make that false claim that this is the greatest country on earth. This is the worst country on earth. All right? You don't have the freedom of speech. You don't have the freedom to bear arms. You can't even walk into a store without wearing a mask over your face over something that's not even really real, man. All right? Because I tell you, when it get real, when they give out those vaccinations and they put up those 5G towers, then you're going to see the real cases spike, and not just them falsifying numbers and saying whatever they want to say because they run and control the media. All right? It's like I've said so many times before. The more evidence that comes out against the corona, COVID-19, the more evidence that shows that it was man-made, that it came from America, that and that it can't jump 6 feet or 12 feet. All right? And that the numbers are being falsified. The more evidence that comes out that proves that, the more commercials, the more advertisement that they use their media bliss to just bliss with lies. All right? To keep pushing that false narrative. And they're gonna, open up, but then it's just gonna get worse, because you just can't turn America on like it's water coming out of a faucet. The damage has been done, right? Now the water has been off for too long. The pipes are rusty, so the water's gonna come out contaminated if it comes out at all. Man, you're not gonna have a flow of anything. All right, you're gonna open up your doors and your businesses. They're saying they're gonna open up businesses to 50% capacity. You'd be lucky if you get 10%. All right, because the majority of the people are the low-level people. They don't have money to go to restaurants, man, and they're not gonna have money, man. Matter of fact, just found out that I may do a video on it too. That there was a stimulus, just like you got your little $1,200 twice, maybe $2,400 if you're lucky. You have 43,000 millionaires and multimillionaires that are going to get $1 million plus. So the people who need it the least are going to get the biggest one. So while you're clapping your hands, hey, like I said, man, Americans are really, really stupid and docile. Well, at least everybody, but these Edomites are getting angry though, man. They're starting to change their tune. Because if that was done to people in Greece or any other country around the world, man, the people would riot, man. They would riot, and these cities would be on fire. The governors and the mayor's houses would be burning, man. But Americans are just stupid, and because they dumbed you down, man. They dumbed you down. This is Isaiah 24 and 8, and it says, "The mirth of the tabret ceaseth, and the noise of them that rejoiceth endeth. The joy of the harp ceases," man. So it's no more mirth, no more partying, no more good times, no more bars, man. People can't even date, man. Or why don't we just say what it really is, man? For you women who date, who ride the cock carousel because you just screw guy after guy after guy after guy. All right? And then wonder why nobody wants to take you serious or be with you. All right? When he having a conversation with you when you're in your phone 30 times, and half of those conversations have been with other men while you sitting there with the man that you're with. All right? This is Isaiah 24 and 11. "There is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. Happiness is gone out of America, man, and it's never coming back. All right? You will not be singing Happy Days Are Here again. It's not, the skies are not clear again. The skies are going to be dark and cloudy. And there will be blood in the streets soon come. Call Haloy Hawabashim Abashai by Hashem Rakakwadash. Wa Abba Babal Shalom.